All right, you're listening to KDVS 90.3 FM. I'm here with Bumpin Uglies. How you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So let's get a proper introduction. What's your full name?
Brandon Hardesty or Mr. Bumpin Uglies, if you want to.
Mr. Bumpin Uglies. And you're coming from Maryland.
Yeah, Annapolis, Maryland.
Dude, that's a long drive.
Yeah, well, we flew. So.
Right on. So I see that you just released a new album, an acoustic single, right?
Yeah, well, it's the first single off of an upcoming acoustic album. The song's called Underdog, and then the record's going to be called Underdog as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. When are we going to expect that to come out?
I want to say mid-August, I think, is the record.
Okay.
Actually, it might be. I know we got another single coming out in a week or so, and then I think I want to say the record's like a month after that, so maybe September.
Nice.
I should know this, but I don't.
Hey, man, you're busy. So, you're coming from Maryland. I got to ask right out of the gate. Have you seen the show The Wire?
Oh, yeah, like 3 times.
Yeah, what do you think about it?
It's great. I think first season and the third season and the fourth season are it. And then second season's cool. Fifth season's ridiculous. Second season is all right. But
yeah, man. I've been having that debate with my girlfriend myself because I'm putting her on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different. It's definitely different.
It's funny though, because being from Maryland, I got a lot of friends who work down at the docks, so like they love that. Like they that's like their favorite season because that's like all about them. But yeah. I just think like it's slower compared to, you're going from like the crazy like crack dealing in the first season to just like dock worker drama. And,
right.
It's just different.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been in the business for a while, since 2008, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Explain a little bit about that process of becoming a professional. Because at the station, we're an independent radio station. We get a lot of kids coming, a lot of aspiring artists. Describe when you knew you're a professional, what that looks like, and what advice would you give to young kids who are aspiring?
I mean, it can't be about the money, like, at all. Like, because you're going to constantly need to reinvest money into like getting more gear and doing more things. Like, like we never had anyone that helped us out with money, so like the whole thing's been like self-financed, like by myself and essentially, and then the band and like the gigs that we would do back in the day, we would just do bar gigs to make however much money we could and then reinvest that into the band for studio time and then like van payments, and then slowly but surely like more gear. Like even at the stage we're at now, like, and when we're like normally doing our touring, like we have a trailer that has all our gear in it, like an in-ear monitor system where it's totally contained. But when we fly, we don't get to fly with that stuff. So it's like, it's a totally different experience playing a fly date to playing a club date. But like, there's a way to do that. There's a way to like fly and still use in-ears, but it's like, you have to buy another $6,000-$7,000 worth of gear. You know what I mean? So it's
right.
Like, just I feel like it never stops. Like as you grow, you're going to need to just consistently reinvest more money into it. So it's like you need to.
Treat it like a business.
It is a business. You have to treat it like a business, or you're not going to make it work. Essentially, it's like if you're doing it to make a living off of solely like playing music, or like that needs to be the last priority. Like the first priority needs to be making it happen, and then you just got to do what other side hustles you got to do to make it happen until then. Like obviously the goal is eventually you want to be making enough money off it to be sustainable, but it's I feel like any small business is going to be a money suck for a long time.
That's important. I feel like a lot of people should hear that because they got to appreciate the grind of what it takes to get here. How many festivals have you been in so far?
Like ever? I don't know, somewhere between
shitload, huh?
Yeah, somewhere between 100 and 100 million. I don't know. Like a lot. Like it all runs together. I've been doing this for like 15 years. So.
Yeah. So, have you seen the reggae genre change in the past 10, 15 years?
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, you kind of fall into that trifecta of, punk, ska, reggae.
I kind of think of us more as like reggae adjacent. Like we kind of play reggae. You know what I mean? We don't really do like reggae. Like when I think of reggae, I think of like one drops and like classic reggae rhythms, and we're just way more on like the hip hop side of it. Kind of like hip hop drums with like the way Sublime did it.
Right.
Yeah, like we definitely like do more like ska punk and like hip hop and like reggae, quote unquote. But I would definitely say like the evolution of the genre over the last 10 years, it's become way more like pop oriented, I think, in a lot of ways. A big emphasis on like big production as opposed to like there's a lot more like programmed kind of beat driven things as opposed to like an emphasis on like the live band setting.
Right.
And it's that's just kind of what we're seeing now. I feel like it's just like anything else where it's like it's constantly evolving and changing.
Talk to me about the band a little bit. So you have a couple of bandmates. How did you meet them? How do you pick your people? Who do you know? Who to perform with?
Well, Wolfie's I've been playing with him the longest, and he played in a southern rock band out of Annapolis. That I met him when we were doing open night mics back in the day, and he left that band, and I needed a bass player. So that was
you guys go way back.
Yeah, that was like 2010 or something like that. My drummer was playing in like a punk reggae band out of Philly that we just would see touring, and same story. He left that band. We needed a drummer, so we linked up. Ethan, my keyboard player, and Will, my tenor sax player, both just from around the way, linked up with them when I was, because we were a three-piece forever. But as the band grew, I just, I knew them from around the way and brought them in. Ben, my percussion player, we do like 75% of our dates with him, but when we're like out west and we're in like a rental, like it's called a bandwagon, which is like a small tour bus. It's like a RV or something. Those only have 9 bunks. So we don't have enough bunks to bring him on that. But when we're out east and we're using vans and stuff, Ben does all our dates with us. But I've known him since high school. So it was like as soon as I got to the point where I was ready to bring on a percussion player, I just hit him up. I was like, yo, you want to? And he's kind of a pirate just by life, so he was down.
Okay. So what does collaboration mean to you? Are you hoping to do any collaborations in the future?
I love collaboration. Yeah, like I think it's cool, but like my philosophy on it, like there's a lot of people who just want to do it as like a transactional kind of thing, whereas like like I'm gonna put this person on my song because it's gonna look good on Spotify and get me streams, or it's like I want to look. It's like a more of a business kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas for me, I want to do it strictly. I want to work with people that I like are my friends because it's fun making music with your friends, or people who I'm like really into their shit. Like I don't ever want to like collab just because it makes sense from the business end, if that makes sense.
That's respect. Yeah. You got to keep music first.
Yeah, the art needs to come first, I think.
Right on. So describe a little bit about the music making process. How do you know when you're done with the song? Describe the progression of making a song, and then how do you know when you're done?
It's different for everyone else, but for this band, I write everything on an acoustic guitar in my basement. Like I just write a bunch of songs, and I make demos on my smartphone. I usually get together with TJ, my drummer, and then we'll fuck around and make other demos that are like kind of produced with like drums and acoustic. Then send that to the rest of the band, and we get in the studio and we just track it. And a lot of it is built in the studio as far as like the layers go and whatnot. But we always go in with the skeleton of what the song's going to be based off the acoustic stuff that I wrote.
Okay, right on. I heard a couple younger bands say that they think they could get away with making a song with just 3 chords, a simple chord progression. You think that's possible?
Yeah, a lot of the most successful songs in the world are just 3 songs. Like that's like very much pop. It's very much. Honestly, like a lot of the reggae shit's 2 chords. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's less about. Think of it like soup or like cooking and stuff. It's like the best dishes aren't the most complicated recipes. A lot of times simplicity is best. Like I'm big on lyrics. Like I think, like it all carries importance to it. But there's no right or wrong way to write a song.
Right. Do you believe in mistakes?
Yeah, definitely.
Are they good or bad? Are they welcomed in the studio?
I think they're unavoidable, and I think the biggest thing you can do is just learn from them. I think we're all constantly learning, and I think like the best thing you can do in life is kind of like challenge yourself to grow, and when you do that, you're gonna make mistakes. And I mean, the best, it's all part of the learning process. I think you got to embrace them and just shake them off when they happen.
Right on. So what's next for Bumpin Uglies? What's your guys' next performance?
We're flying home on tomorrow, and then next weekend we're in New England. We got 3 dates. We're doing Rhode Island, Portland, Maine, and this suburb of Boston.
That's amazing to me, man, because I never really envisioned the East Coast having that type of
It's funny,
audience.
man. It's funny because like a lot of people don't get that. Like for a long time, like it's been an interesting story being doing this genre of music and being from the East Coast, because everywhere we would go, people would think we're from California, and I'm like very proud to be from Maryland. And there's definitely like a very thriving scene over there. Like there's people, and like I define that based off of like the fact that there's like bands that are doing it, like a lot of different bands from all up and down the East Coast and the Midwest that are doing it with different sounds and different textures to it. And there's a lot of different markets up there where with fans that like want to come out and see the shows. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like there's definitely a thriving scene over there. I think there's a thriving scene in this country, but I mean the East Coast is a big part of it for sure.
Have you gone international yet?
No, we did some shit in Mexico, but
That's
like
pretty cool.
my whole thing is like, I mean, really like the way like you should treat touring is like you don't want to like do too much too quick. So I'm trying to get the continental United States to the point where we're making like a solid living, and then you like the idea is you cut, because we're on the road like half the year right now. So like I'm 37, I got 2 kids. Like I don't want to be doing that forever. I want
that must be hard, huh?
I want to cut back on the amount that we're on the road. Eventually, but like when we get to the point we can cut back on the United States, that's when we can start thinking about adding in like international stuff like Europe or Australia or Japan,
Right.
whatever.
Is the audience there, do you think?
What, internationally?
Yeah.
I mean, there's music fans all around the country, like, I mean all around the world. Like I've got friends that have done touring in Japan, and they say it's like the coolest shit they've ever seen. Like, and I know a lot of bands, more so in the rock genre, that kill it in Europe, and they don't do well in the United States at all, and they're from the United States, but they go over to Europe to kill it. Like, I don't know, like the whole reason, like I love writing songs and I love playing music, but one of the reasons I wanted to start doing this was just to see shit, so like I've never been to Europe, and I really want to go over there and take it all in. Now I'd like to get paid to do it eventually. And
hell yeah, that'd be tight.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. So is there anything else that you want to promote before I close it out?
Yeah, I mean, we got our own festival we put on in Bedford, Pennsylvania, called Weekend at Wolfie's. It's it was the second weekend of June this year. I think it's going to be right around there next year, and it's cool. It's DIY, and it's a really wholesome event, and I would encourage people to check that out.
Weekend at Wolfie's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before I got to delve into that. How'd you get into that? That must be really stressful. Are you?
It is, man.
Calling?
Yeah, well, like it was my idea to do that. Like it's all, I mean, like once again, like I said, like this band started off and it was like self-financed, and it's like I've always had kind of like an entrepreneurial mind, and as you get deeper into it, it's just the way to make a living out of playing music is like finding different ways to make money, So like putting on a festival is a really cool way to do that if you think you can sell the tickets, So like it was 5 years ago, I think we did it for the first time, and we had just started working with our current manager, and it was like when shit really started clicking for us. He had experience putting on a festival, and I knew at that point, like I'd done enough like research into our fans and whatnot that we could sell the tickets to because it's expensive to do it. I think the first year it cost us like 40-50 grand to do it. This last year it cost us like 100 grand to do it. It's like it's a very expensive risk to do, but like you could potentially make enough money off that to like really subsidize the business for, what I'm saying, like be on the road less eventually, like right. And at the same time you're doing this really cool event, but you're also providing like a really cool experience for the people who come, which is like a big thing for me, is like curating the vibe and like the atmosphere,
Right. Sounds to me that you're very enterprising. You got some business plans in the future.
I mean,
man.
you gotta be if you're trying to make a living out of this shit.
I think that's important for these young kids to hear, though, man, because I get a lot of kids coming from Reno, SoCal, NorCal, and they're just trying to make a name for themselves, and I don't think they realize that you got to promote yourself. There's a business behind it.
The biggest thing too you can do about this is like take merch seriously, because we make way more money off merch than we do off playing music.
Merch.
Yeah. And, like I treat our merch shit like a clothing store. Like every quarter we have like new stuff rolling out, and like if you can develop a kind of fan base that like you have a personal relationship and they believe in what you're doing and they support you, then they're going to show you that support through buying the merch.
That's smart, man.
So you got to just constantly give them new ways to do that.
Right. Repping your name, really.
Yeah, well, it's
advertisement.
It's a win-win. It's advertisement, and it's cash flow.
There you go. Yep. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
I could probably keep talking to you forever, but I don't want to talk your ears off.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.